Well, number one, I've been doing this since I was 19. Okay, so I've been knocking on doors. Knocking on doors, where I came up from in the early '80s, was extremely difficult. That was my lot in life. That was my lot, just to knock on doors for the rest of my life in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And guys have done it. They have a whole Jewish community of door knockers. And all they do is knock on doors and pass leads to the closer. That was my expectation. That was expected to only be able to knock on doors. So when I started knocking on doors, the first year I made about $50,000, which was good for a guy like me that didn't have too much of a formal education. You know, I did well at it, and I did that for like 7 years. And I had a closer, and I used to give him the leads and never went in the house with him. And just knocked on doors, generated business, and gave it, and that's just the way it was. Well, the owner of the company wanted to relocate to Washington, D.C., and that's how I ended up here. And I was still canvassing for my closer when I came here. And so, long story short, I caught the eye of a building supply company. I guess the owner of a building supply company, I guess he was a friend of the owner of the company. And to make a long story short, my closer had passed away, and I had to make a decision: do I want to close, or do I want to continue to canvas, and what I wanted to do? Somehow, some way, I ended up in this guy's office. Don't ask me how. Fate. And this guy's office was probably 20 by 20. It was a pretty big office. He had all his accolades on the wall. He was about 55, maybe 60 years old, and he demanded respect as soon as you walked in his office. You know, and that was an honor and a privilege for me to even know this guy. And so he began to educate me and school me on the ways of the home improvement business. And it's like going to Harvard without paying for a degree. He gave me every number, everything I needed to do to succeed. And then I became a closer. I worked for a couple of companies he recommended I work for, but eventually I went out on my own. Started off with nothing. The most we ever did was $5-6 million a year. And most of that selling was done with 2 or 3 people. So in terms of knowing the industry, in terms of knowing the 10-step methodology, I went to every Dave Yeho, which is everybody knows is a giant in our industry. I went to all his seminars. I had all his tapes. I still do. I listen to him. The thing about Dave Yeho, if you understand him, he has the roadmap. He has the roadmap. And if you listen to him, his tapes, they just tell you exactly what to do while you're in the house. I was able to apply that information, and I was able to become a closer. And so, can I help your business? Yes, I can.